Students, we are going to talk about the sexual maturity in animals. It is for chapter 1, class 12, subject biology. Listen carefully. The second topic, because the first topic was the identification of sexual maturity in plants. Keep in mind. The first topic was sexual maturity in plants, but it was that was the first topic, and it is the second topic regarding the sexual maturity. What are the specific features that how do you know the animals or plant become sexually able for the reproduction? But the basic features for the plant, that is, they show the flowering phenomenon. Some of the plants may be monocarpic, some of the plants may be polycarpic, and that is everything has been over. So you can say that if plants begin the flowering in them, then there is the phase of sexual maturity. But what are the characteristic features by which you are able to know the animals become sexually matures or able to reproduce? That was early stage was juvenile, the later stage was reproductive phase. So how do you know the animals become able for the reproduction? The basic characteristic features of animals in case of the lower animal. First of all, we are going to talk about the basic identification for the sexual maturity in lower organisms. The lower organisms, that is in lower, in लगा लेना यहाँ पे, in lower organism. Here it doesn't mean the algae, fungi, etc. It is only for the animals, that is organisms here for animals. So don't be confused regarding this. In case of lower animals, we are going to talk about the lower animals, not only the phylum Porifera, not only from the Coelenterata. The lower animals means all about the phylum Chordata, all about the vertebrata. Keep in mind, the lower organisms recognize they become sexually matures or reproductively able to perform the process of reproduction by their egg laying phenomenon. That is, by their egg laying phenomenon. By egg laying phenomenon. What is egg laying phenomenon? When the organisms begin, that is lower organisms, like tell me some of the egg laying organisms that lay egg, like fishes. Not all fishes are egg laying, only the marine fishes lay egg. Keep in mind, bony fishes actually bears the egg, but that is actually the ova. Functionally, that is actually the ova. So one by one we will describe about the egg laying animals, birds, reptiles, etc. Keep in mind, these are actually the basically egg laying animals, and when they begin to lay egg, that is the phase of reproduction. First phase was juvenile, second was the reproductive phase. So how could you identify the animal become a reproductive phase? That is through the egg laying phenomenon. Keep in mind, the egg laying may be in different phase, as like the monocarpic, polycarpic. So some of the living organisms are actually seasonal breeder. Some of the organisms are seasonal breeders. What is seasonal breeders? Some of the organisms lay egg at a particular season, that is at the winter or at the summer or during the rainy seasons. So they are called seasonal breeders. So write down what is seasonal breeders. Organisms that they breeds and reproduces at specific weather condition called seasonal breeders. For example, frog, lizard, and most of the bird, not all bird, that is most of the birds are seasonal breeders. Keep in mind, there should be most of the birds. It means not all birds. Not all birds are seasonal breeders. Only few birds are seasonal breeders. One by one we will describe about the seasonal breeders. Now back to the second part, that is continuous breeder. Continuous breeders. Some of the animals lay egg throughout the years, that is throughout the weather condition. For example, so what are the continuous breeder? Organisms that lay egg throughout the whole years, throughout the whole weather condition, called continuous breeders. Now back to the example, poultry birds. Poultry birds. What is poultry birds? The hen and everything like ostrich, some ducks are actually kept in the poultry farm in order to commercial exploitation. So the reason behind the fact for the continuous breeders in poultry farm is for their commercial exploitation. Commercial exploitation. Keep in mind. What is commercial exploitation? In order for only our purpose, that is in order for only our purpose, in order to provide the benefit for human welfare, that is actually the commercial purpose. They are actually their genes are modified in order to give rise the egg, in order to increase, in order to reproduce throughout the whole weathers. That is actually beneficial for the human being and other businessmen, etc. Now back to the second, that is second events, that is the in higher animals, that is sexual maturity in higher animals. To the sexual maturity in higher animals. So in your syllabus, the higher animals are those animals that are actually counted as mammal. Keep in mind, mammal, the class Mammalia, all animals belong to class Mammalia called mammals. So in this syllabus and in your syllabus class 12, the higher animals as a mammals are counted. Now back to the category of mammals. Listen carefully. How do mammals are categorized and their specific reproductive phase? Mammals either become primate or non-primate. Non-primate. In class 11, the broad classification of class Mammalia has a very specific order, that is order Primata. And in non-primata there are carnivora, there are many other animals are exist, but they all are actually the non-primate. Primate animals, example monkey, human being. Monkey, human being, ape are actually the primate animals, but non-primate animals are cow, buffalo and cat, shrews, etc. That is actually the non-primate. What are the basic features by which some mammals are categorized as a primate while some others categorized as a non-primate? Let us talk about the primate. Keep in mind, the primates are categorized by having a very specific feature, that is actually known as menstrual cycle. Menstrual cycle. And non-primates are categorized by having very specific features, that is known as estrus cycle. Estrus cycle. So how do the non-primates, maybe questions arise in your board exam, how do the non-primates recognize that they are reproductive, they are into the reproductive phase? They are recognized through the estrus cycle. But the primates recognize through the menstrual cycle. Now back to the what are the basic features about the menstrual cycle, that is actually in your syllabus, so very important. Chapter 3 human reproduction, it is very important topic over there, but here there is only a little knowledge required, and also for the estrus cycle. Now back to the basic features regarding the menstrual cycle and estrus cycle. This should be in under your notes. Your heading will be sexual maturity in higher animals, In this way you can write about the higher animals. In our syllabus will be categorized as a mammals only. Mammals either may be primates or non-primates. Basic example of primates are monkey, human being, ape, and basic example of non-primates are cow, buffalo, cat, shrews, etc. But the important events by which we can recognize the primates are become under the age of reproduction, that is through the menstrual cycle, and non-primates, they are actually recognized through the estrous cycle. Now back to the what happened into the menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. This should be your homework. What are the basic difference between menstrual cycle and estrous cycle? Write down the important difference between menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. Listen carefully. Menstrual cycle and estrous cycle. In class 10th you have pre-mindset, you have aware, you have also read about the menstrual cycle, but it is new for you. Actually this is the structure, this is the basic structure of human reproductive system, female reproductive system, that is actually fembree, and that is actually the ovary. When the ovary release ova, then it will reach into the fallopian tube, and over there it will fertilize to form zygote, and zygote later convert into the baby. This baby required nourishment, and for the nourishment the ovary develop a thick blood lining over which the baby attached and start their nutrition. But what happened when the these ova not fertilized, then the thick blood lining get fall down, that is actually called as menstrual. The falling of thick blood lining is called as menstrual or menstruation. And this thick blood lining is called as mens. Keep in mind that is a cyclic process which occurs at a periodic interval of 28 to 20 last day of 29 days, but that is a cycle due to the cyclic event, that is called as menstrual cycle. But actually what happened in the estrous cycle? Listen carefully. Suppose that this is the ovary and this is the fallopian tube, this is the uterus, and when the ova release from the ovary and reach into the fallopian tube, then everything will be as usual as in the menstrual cycle, that is thick blood lining will be formed, and if the zygote get formed into the baby, then there is attachment process and it will take for the long duration, that is during the gestation period. But what happen if the ova do not fertilized over here? That will the thick blood lining that is formed into the uterus region, in this case do not fall, it will actually absorb into the body, and there is no mens released out from the uterus. That is actually a cyclic phase of a periodic interval, that is called as estrous cycle. So I hope you have a pre-mindset and you have a very clear concept regarding the menstrual cycle and estrous cycle.